Hello Africa, great to see you again. I'm Eric Njoka and you are watching World of Africa on WION The World is One. The feud between former allies stand fours in Senegal continues to expand and it's getting murkier. The president, Diomaye Faye, has divorced from the party that brought him to power and formed his own party seeking to consolidate support from his former Prime Minister, Ousmane Sonko's base. We'll tell you more about Senegal shortly. The show starts now. Hundreds of Togolese protesters took to the streets of the coastal town of WOA to demand the restoration of Togo's previous constitution, saying the 2024 reforms have allowed longtime leader Faye Gnassinbe to remain in power indefinitely. The 2024 changes replaced Togo's presidential system with a parliamentary model in which executive power is vested in the President of the Council of Ministers, a position that can be renewed indefinitely by Parliament. Here is our cover report. Protesters in Togo are calling for a return to the country's previous constitution. This rally in WOA opened with a traditional libation ceremony before opposition leaders joined supporters in singing Togo's national anthem. Banners and placards opposing the constitutional reform were displayed at the gathering, where organizers held a public rally attended by several hundred supporters. Changes adopted in 2024 established a parliamentary system handing executive power to the President of the Council of Ministers, a post now held by President Faye Gnassinbe.
The constitutional change that took place in Togo in 2024 is completely illegal. It is a constitutional coup d'etat. The Togolese people will never accept this outrage.
The only thing I want is a return to the former constitution that was amended.
While not legally binding, the opposition is hoping the ruling will mobilize the public. Gnassinbe has ruled Togo since 2005. Under the new constitution, he can be re-elected indefinitely by Parliament. The position of national president is now mostly ceremonial and is limited to one 6-year term. According to the ECOWAS Court of Justice, Togo's constitutional reform establishing a parliamentary system was unconstitutional. The change was supported by a parliamentary majority, but the opposition calls it a power grab designed to let Faye Gnassinbe remain in office indefinitely. According to the court, the changes were passed by a parliament whose mandate had expired. It ruled that this amounts to an unconstitutional change of government under African democratic standards.
It's the awakening of our fellow citizens, because when you're in a dictatorship, it's only through the awakening of the population that things change.
Political parties and rights organizations that brought the case before the court welcomed the decision. This outpour comes a month after a new coalition of major Togolese opposition parties and civil society groups held their first meeting to relaunch protests against constitutional changes they say allow Gnassinbe to consolidate power. Public opposition meetings have been rare in Togo in recent years, the last one taking place more than a year ago. 4 opposition parties and civil society groups have formed a coalition called the National Consultation Framework for Change in Togo, CNCC.
This is yet another feature of the system that's been ruling us for so many years. You know, Togo is a dictatorship. Human rights are, sadly, something the regime constantly tramples on in order to stay in power. The justice system is a tool of repression. Individual and collective freedoms are trampled underfoot. Also that, through repression and the fear instilled in the population, people are afraid to protest against this regime.
Opposition and civil society groups have consistently criticized the 2024 constitution, seeing it as a means for Gnassinbe to remain at the head of the West African nation indefinitely. For the presidential camp, the constitution ensures more representation. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has unveiled a new political party, formalizing his break with former ally Ousmane Sonko and reshaping the country's political landscape ahead of key elections slated for 2029.
Still wallowing in the miasma of deceit, Senegal's president is projecting a defined face, and he did that by launching a new party called Kire. Following his high-profile falling out with his erstwhile mentor and ex-Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko. Sonko leads the Pan-Africanist party PASTEF, to which both men belonged and which swept President Bassirou Diomaye Faye into office in 2024. Faye appointed Sonko Prime Minister immediately after becoming the president, but the relationship eventually soured and culminated in Sonko's sacking in May. Faye unveiled the new Kire party, whose name is Wolof for protection or shield, during a packed assembly of supporters in Dakar. Hundreds of supporters who could not fit inside the hotel conference room waited outside in searing heat, carrying signs and wearing decorative scarves that said "Vive Diomaye." Announcing the new party, which has the slogan "Republican Patriots," Diomaye said it was built on republic, ethics, transparency, fraternity and work.
This day does not belong to just one party. It consecrates a certain idea of Senegal, a simple yet lofty idea that I have carried since childhood and that 2 years at the head of the state have etched in me as a certainty. This idea is that only the Republic offers protection and it protects everyone.
C'est que seule la République protège et protège tout le monde.
With his Pan-Africanist rhetoric, Sonko won a following among young Senegalese after a power struggle with former President Macky Sall, who ruled from 2012 till 24. He and Faye campaigned on a platform of change, pledging economic transformation, social justice and a fight against corruption. But the collapse in their relationship was reflected in the attitudes of some of Faye's supporters.
I came to answer the call of my country and the Republic and also to support the launch of this great party. So I came to answer that call as a citizen, as a Republican, and as a patriot.
While Kire has yet to prove itself electorally, multiple PASTEF officials and activists have recently announced their resignation to join the presidential camp. Faye's communication team has said the new party will hold a congress after the country's summer rainy season. Faye essentially owes his position as president to Sonko, his one-time mentor, who would almost certainly have taken the top job had he not been barred from running in the West African country's 2024 presidential election due to a defamation conviction.
Le jour où j'ai prêté serment devant Dieu et devant la nation.
On the day I took an oath before God and before the nation, I swore to serve all Senegalese, all of them, without distinction and without exception, and that oath remains my foremost commitment. No party, not even the one being formed today, will ever take precedence over it.
Celui qui naît aujourd'hui ne passera jamais devant lui.
The two men fell out over disagreements on how Senegal should battle its massive public debt and other policy issues. On the 22nd of May, Faye fired Sonko as the Prime Minister. Sonko's ally promptly appointed him Speaker of Parliament, and he remains the undisputed leader of PASTEF, which controls 130 of the 165 seats in Senegal's single legislative chamber. The National Assembly passed a bill in late June, reducing the president's power that included barring the head of state from leading a political party or a coalition of parties. However, the Constitutional Council struck down the measure less than 2 weeks later. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
Sudan's paramilitary leader, Mohamed Hamdan Daglo, whose rapid support forces have been accused of genocide, told his fighters to consider themselves unleashed in their war against the army, a day after losing a key highway between the capital Khartoum and the Kordofan region's largest city of El Obeid. Daglo's parallel administration published a video message where he released the reins of his fighters on the front lines. The fighting persists unabated.
The Sudanese army has announced that it has regained full control of a major highway linking the capital Khartoum with Al Obeid, a city that has been under siege by the rival paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. The capture of the Al Sadarat highway will help the Sudanese army move troops, weapons, fuel and supplies, and will also block the RSF's push to seize Al Obeid, the capital of North Kordofan state. About 500,000 people are trapped in the city, where the United Nations has warned of a humanitarian catastrophe, with residents facing intense RSF drone attacks.
This authority works to serve citizens and maintain the cleanliness of markets and neighborhoods, providing services to the public. However, it was targeted by militias, resulting in the clear destruction of the institution and the disruption of its operations. Actions we strongly condemn.
In a statement, the Sudanese army said it had recaptured cities and towns between Khartoum and Al Obeid, following 2 days of fierce battles with the RSF, which controlled the highway. The attacks marked the first major offensive against the paramilitary in months. The UN has for weeks warned the RSF fighters could commit mass atrocities in the Kordofan region, as they sought to encircle its largest city of Al Obeid ahead of an apparent large-scale assault. Since April 2023, Daglo's war with his former ally, Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has killed upwards of 2 lakh people, aid workers estimate, and created the world's largest hunger and displacement crisis. His forces have committed atrocities including ethnic cleansing, systematic sexual violence, and summary executions, according to survivor testimony and UN reports.
Despite the challenges, we, along with our humanitarian partners, continue scaling up the cholera response, supporting nearly 80 surveillance sites, 16 treatment centers, 8 oral rehydration points, and prevention activities for more than 270,000 people in the impacted areas. However, funding shortfalls are limiting the response. We continue to urge donors to commit additional funding. This year's humanitarian appeal for Sudan is about 40% funded, with $1.1 billion received against the nearly $2.9 billion required.
The road to Khartoum remains closed to civilians who have for most of the war relied entirely on the eastern road to the White Nile, where the RSF regularly launches deadly drone strikes. Though both sides have reportedly committed war crimes including indiscriminate bombings, the army is generally regarded more favorably by civilians in areas that have faced the brunt of RSF violence. The city of about 500,000 people, which the UN says has doubled in size because of displacement, Al Obeid, has been caught in the crossfire since the war began. It was under paramilitary siege from April 2023 until February of last year, when the army broke through. Ever since, RSF attacks on roads, neighborhoods, and critical infrastructure such as power stations have worsened the humanitarian crisis, where the UN says only a fraction of the city has reliable access to food. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
And from the north, let's head to the west. A lack of resources can be a barrier to entry for young people wanting to learn new sports. In the Nigerian city of Lagos, however, neighborhood boxing clubs offer young fighters the chance to lace up their gloves on the streets.
In a busy corner of Lagos, the sound of gloves hitting punch bags mixes with the noise of passing vehicles as children and teenagers gather for a boxing session led by local coaches determined to nurture young talent. With limited access to formal training facilities, prospective fighters train on streets and in neighborhoods with homemade equipment and teachers who teach boxing, discipline and resilience. Yusuf Elail is a former boxer. He's been coaching children for over a decade. He started training them after watching too many young people drift toward the streets.
The reason why I started training these kids is because I looked at my immediate environment and I realized that a lot of kids were homeless, and some were defiant and rebellious, and some ended up as touts or area boys, fighting and engaging in questionable conduct.
For many of the young athletes, the sessions offered more than just physical training. Lagos has produced boxers who have gone on to compete nationally and even internationally. But the grassroots scene still runs on almost nothing.
We train here on the street. Sometimes while training, passers-by look at us as if we were jobless, like people who don't know what they are doing. But we have a lot of champions here. Just last year, my daughter won boxing gold for Nigeria's National Youth Games while representing Niger State. We also won gold in several amateur boxing tournaments, and all of the trainings and building of these kids are being done on this street.
At another roadside gym, boxing promoter Folashade Lawal is training to become a coach. She says the lack of funding, equipment and facilities holds the young athletes back.
Because we train on the roadside, it affects the quality of the training we give to the kids, because we don't have the proper training kits for them, and it also affects them when we go out for a competition.
The roadside sessions provide the young boxers with an opportunity to hone their talents, establish self-discipline and pursue goals beyond the streets where they started. Elail's daughter, Fatia Elail, trains here too. She says boxing has given her confidence. Many of them hope that their makeshift training grounds will be the first step towards a future in professional boxing. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Traditional music is making a comeback in Libya. It is called Malouf, and it is played by bands on special occasions, including weddings and religious holidays. There used to be just a few performers, but now all that has changed.
Festival organizer Abdelbaset Kanda says Malouf music traces its roots to Al-Andalus. The medieval Muslim-ruled territories of the Iberian Peninsula, and remains an important part of Libya's cultural heritage. The festival, held at Tripoli's Qasr al-Khuld, features musical performances, workshops and panel discussions focused on preserving the tradition and passing it on to younger generations.
فن المألوف هو فن أندلسي
The Malouf art is an Andalusian art and became widespread in the Maghreb countries during the Spanish occupation of this region. Arabic poems were created to praise Prophet Muhammad and to mention the Prophet's biography. Then it was passed down among the zawiyas in the city of Tripoli. These zawiyas were known for teaching Quran memorization and praising the Prophet. This is when these poems were written down and were passed down among generations.
This prestigious festival was founded with the mission to revive and document the refined art of Malouf. Throughout its journey, it has successfully united an elite group of prominent ensembles, artists, and specialists from both Libya and abroad. Its successive editions have served as vital, enduring milestones for celebrating this authentic artistic legacy, ensuring its protection and transmission to future generations amidst cultural and public acclaim that reflects society's deep connection to its artistic identity.
Al-Malouf art is a fine art that should be preserved. We have to introduce new research, new melodies, and to try to create something new. We need to seek help from our elderly scholars and seek the help of a number of artists who are present with me at the radio.
Throughout the festival, evenings were filled with devotional chants and sacred music performances that reflected the humanistic and aesthetic dimensions of Sufi traditions. Organizers described the event as a platform for strengthening cultural ties between people through art, spirituality, and shared heritage. For many attendees, the performances were more than musical showcases. They were a reminder of the enduring ability of spiritual music to transcend borders, revive collective memory, and create moments of unity through art.
I feel very happy as a person who is in love with such art. These melodies play on the heart's melodies, as they say, so one feels elation, happiness, and passion. Even the lyrics, they are poems, including religious ones which touch humans in a great deal, the religious things, the religious poems, in addition to the emotional, as well as things related to social issues and society.
20 Libyan ensembles from across the country are taking part in the festival, which runs through July 31st. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
And on that Malouf note, it's a wrap on this edition of World of Africa. Thank you very much for watching the show this week. Get in touch with us on our website and social media platforms and share your stories with us. We would love to highlight them to the world. This is WION World is One, and I'm Eric Njoka. Goodbye.
India's Global Voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. an award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION. World is One.
WOA Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WOA Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowan.com.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. More than 200,000 civilian homes have been destroyed. This looks like it used to be a toy for a little girl. Can't but wonder while I'm walking between all of this rubble, how many lives were destroyed, how many kids were traumatized, how many women lost their families. If this isn't a war crime, then what is? From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION World is One.
Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is One.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 20